Except Team Liquid's able to like still depend on their players, unlike CLG has been able to, and that's why it's like.
Man.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the EWatchers podcast, where we give you all the support and insight you need to get hyped about League of Legends esports. We are doing power rankings yet again for week 6. Let's just jump into it. We have Manny and Rhino, and I am Sam, just casual, whatever. Anyway, we'll go right into yeah, I guess whatever. Anyway, at number 1 we have Echo Fox, and 2 we have Cloud9. So this is where we kind of disagreed a little bit. Why is Fox on top? Rhino or Manny, why is Fox on top?
Because I mean, we were talking about this even last week. I put them in first. I still think they're the strongest team in terms of like the best of ones, right? Mm-hmm. I know that we can look into playoffs and you can make a lot of cases for the different teams, right? Like even Clutch Gaming, I don't think they're a strong best of 3 team, right? But we don't know that. We just don't know. So I think as of right now, Fox seems to me like the most dominant. The Cloud9 game, they just completely outdrafted them. They completely destroyed them. Like they played to their win conditions almost perfectly. Like they stomped like where they had to stomp, and just Cloud9 was not able to do anything, right? And I think to me that just shows that their level of understanding and their confidence is so high that to me they have to be in first.
Sure. Okay. So Manny, you mentioned draft, and I know Rhino has something to say about the draft. So Cloud9, did they draft poorly, or did Fox draft really well?
They drafted so poorly. Okay, I can understand letting Sedge get through and letting it get first picked, but why, almighty God, are you going to take the nerfed Ezreal? I understand Ezreal's still meta, but like first pick Ezreal, you still have GP, you still have Vlad, and you still have all the mid lane matchups that you could ever want. I do not understand. Like maybe even like pick J4 and flex it, right? Like flex it in the top lane, and then you could pick something else in top lane. They just got completely outdrafted. That's why I'm not willing to say that. That's why, spoiler alert, I put Cloud9 at first and Fox in second. I'm not willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that was a fair test to see.
A team gets outdrafted and then they're
listen.
Favoritism.
You know how all the Cloud9 players like Reaper like goes over their head and asks what their brains are today? Yeah. They should all literally turn around and put their head on Reaper and say brain check Reaper, because I have no idea what happened.
So I mean, what was Fox's first pick? They picked the Sejuani, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I understand going for like, I mean, I understand like not like taking GP, because if you take the GP, Lucian's locked in the second rotation, and then you have a very strong like counter matchup with the 2v1 2v2 top, right?
Yeah.
With the Sejuani. So I think even though Cloud9 did play it bad, I think Echo Fox forced their hand.
In what universe do you pick J4 second round over Zach?
Well, I mean, I think that's just a preference of Svenskeren.
Yeah, but there's a clear indication of which one's better for early game gank potential.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. But I mean, I'm surprised. Like I guess Sedge is still like the number 1 priority, but like Darda could have ended up picking that, right? If you wanted to still go for the GP. So I think Echo Fox still pushed them into a bad draft. So I don't think that it's fair to necessarily like not give credit where credit is due.
Oh no, the bans and stuff were fine, and how the play, and it's just I don't think it was all planned. We're like, oh dude, we're gonna get him to pick J4. We heard that they're not practicing it. I don't think it's like that.
I wouldn't say like it was necessarily that, but I think it's more of the fact that like you go for that, right? Mm-hmm. And you know that if like whatever they pick, you're forcing them already into like a second tier, right? And then you prepare for that. And if obviously it's like on both sides, right? Like I know that Cloud9 had a bad draft. Yeah, they did. Lucian was not even a problem. Like a lot of people were saying Lucian was the problem. Lucian was the best part of their draft, right?
Yeah.
because that is a perfect counter to GP. But like I think that at the same time, Echo Fox started cornering them throughout as the draft went on. So
well, I mean, it's the mid lane matchup, right? Vlad's gonna always have early priority over Orianna because Orianna doesn't have any like legitimate damage until she gets at least 2 items and is level 6. And then like I'll even show you the notes that I wrote. Like first pick Sejuani, and then I said for Ezreal with 1 question mark, and then J4 with like 6 question marks next to it because I don't understand why you would pick those 2 afterwards. Like Kalista and Alistar are up. Why wouldn't you just pick the perfect bot lane and then have them play around that?
So
right?
I think also the way Smoothie has been playing, you need a very safe solo bot laner, but you could have picked a Tristana unless she was banned. I'm not 100%
She was banned.
sure.
Trist was banned.
So Ezreal is like the next priority pick in that. That way you allow Smoothie to like go for top, you know, and kind of like what they did against Team Liquid, where Smoothie fucked up Impact's lane. Yeah, and like from that one roam, like that was it. Again, I'm just saying, like I understand where they're coming from, except from the J4. I think J4 has dropped so much in priority, and I mean it's okay in certain scenarios, but definitely not as a answer, like as a first rotation answer, but, for sure.
Okay, here's a twister. Cloud9 was the one that banned Tristana.
Yeah, I mean,
so were they not willing to trade Tristana for Sejuani? If that's the case, because if they know they need to get Dardoch in a champion that he's comfortable with, so why wouldn't you make the bans Azir, or not even Azir? Why wouldn't you make the bans Zoe, and then Zac, and then whatever you wanted your third ban to be instead of Tristana? Keep it up, so they have to decide what they want. Dardoch can either decide Sejuani or Tristana, and then the Cloud9 will just take the other one and draft accordingly. I don't know why you wouldn't play it that way. That was just a stupid pick ban phase, in my opinion, because they put themselves in that situation by banning Tristana.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I still think, like, again, once you go through, I've gone through those pick bans, right? And it's like afterwards, that's when you go, holy shit, I completely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
You know, so it sucks, right? It's a lap of judgment, but I still think that Echo Fox like did what they had to do.
Hey, Echo Fox is the team that won. Echo Fox is the team that won, so I can't argue much more with them what the stats say, but I still think that.
Let's say drafts are okay on both sides. There's no one that has a clear winner, because I know drafts are really, really important, right? But if both teams get what they want, which team is better, like with performance wise?
I think if we're talking about like very end, like meet in NALCS finals, I think Cloud9 have a style that can be polished, and Echo Fox tries to undo that. And I think if Cloud9 can get good enough at that style, they can handle whatever's thrown at them.
Yeah, so I agree. I made this argument before that Echo Fox reminded me a lot of Kingzone Dragon Axe, which for maybe some of you guys that don't follow LCK and stuff, that's Longshu, like the new actual name of them. I think that's like the ideal play style, right? Like they are the gods of that play style. They have Khan going crazy with whatever, and Echo Fox is trying to recreate that. Obviously, not at the same level. I really don't think that you can compare, you know, the top of LCK with pretty much anywhere else. But I think that that's what they're going for. I don't know. I still think they're really good. Their only losses against Counterlogic Gaming. So yeah, so they lose some points, right? Yeah, so they lose some points there. But I don't know. Like, I still think, like, unless. And this is why it's so hard for me. Like, unless I actually see some major flaws within the regular season where they actually still lose games, right? Because they have gone huge deficits. I mean, 10K deficits, you know. But again, it's the whole, like, they're still in it. They still win, right? They still find a win. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. Maybe that's not the best way to get into a best of 3, obviously. But as of regular season, this is what I think is the best team. Like, to me, hands down.
I want to propose like a counter example that maybe like you can consider. Now, you would think of like, I would say that it's comparable to say that Fox and Immortals have about the same team structure, which is that they were just running through everybody. They had like a perfect split, right? And then they get to you go to play them against the finals, right? Now, do you remember what the finals were that split?
Yeah,
it was
Cloud9
TSM, because
Cloud9
figured out how they could beat that draft. and then figure out how they can beat the team.
That's why I completely agree. I mean, this team reminds me a lot of 2 years ago, right? With Huni, and instead of Reignover Dardoch, right, you have like a solid mid laner in Phoenix instead of Pobelter. You know, I think the parts are very interchangeable, right? I think like the main similar components are Huni and Dardoch, and being like Huni and Reignover, right? They have similar styles of playing in the top side of the map and stuff. So that's why.
Wait, wasn't Adrian on the team too?
Yeah, Adrian was in the team. So they have like 3/5 of like Immortals, like pretty much, you know, I'll say Reignover is the interchangeable one. I still think that in regular season, they will be the best team. Come playoffs, I'll make different assumptions, right? They do need to prove themselves in playoffs because Huni is great. Huni's been awful in playoffs in NA. You know, like Reignover has been awful in playoffs in NA, but I don't know. I think like this is this is a different Huni, mature Huni, and same with like the other members of the team, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, there's a fucking flame fest," and even Dardoch says that he still has some times where he gets like really frustrated and like quiet in game, right? So I still think they're the strongest team though. At this point in time, like I don't see like they beat C9 twice, you know. Like I don't know. Like I just think like they're to me they're the clear favorites.
I just think it's unfortunate that they face off both times super early into the split. That makes me very sad. Because it's like Cloud9 didn't get a good read on them, and then now it's week 6, like literally the first week of the second half. It just makes me sad because now I just want to see what happens.
No,
I want to know what happens after this.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question for you guys. So we can move on. Which team would you want to go to MSI to represent NA?
Cloud9.
Personally, Echo Fox, because I just want to see Huni back in MSI and try to win that shit with an NA team, dude. He'd go crazy. He'd be like, "All right, boys, let's go, let's do this shit." I think their game is just more explosive. It's a little bit more fun, and they have like pluses in that MSI style of like round robin first, and then like best of threes. I don't know. I think like either team is good, but I personally just favor Echo Fox currently a bit more.
Sure. Okay, cool. So our next group, I would say the next 2 teams are pretty close in contention, but one of these teams jumped up so much in our standings from last week. We have 3rd place, we have Clutch Gaming, and 4th place, we have Team Liquid. So how about Rhino? Why don't you start off with whatever you want to say about those 2 standings?
Team Liquid, I did 4th for the meme, if we're being honest. But I don't know. Clutch Gaming just seems like a super solid team right now. I'm very impressed with the improvements that they made. I think that the question marks that I had are sort of answered. So I'm interested to see what happens. And it's more so, honestly, that Team Liquid dropped down for me because you lost the Golden Guardians, my dude. What happened? What happened? Like, I don't understand.
That's always your litmus test. Like, you lost to Golden Guardians. What is wrong with you? Down 2 spots.
Literally, that's all. That's the only thing I can think of. It's like Golden Guardians is like the epitome of average players in the LCS, in my opinion.
But so they have Matt and Deft.
Yeah,
Mata and Deft.
Yeah, Mata without the A, right? Like, but I don't know. I can't wrap my head around like any team actually losing to them. So
okay. What about you, Manny?
So pretty sure Clutch Gaming definitely listened to this podcast, and they're like, "Oh man, you thought we were gonna lose 2 games in a row? We didn't deserve where we are," and they just blew me out of the water. Like They've literally fixed their main issues from the week before, where it was like, oh, we won one of the games 50-50, like, objective control that fucking Apollo came clutch with. Like, I'm still very unimpressed with Lyra, and it's very saddening because he's like one of my favorite players from the team. But like, Solo is very similar to Licorice. Like, people think like he's not necessarily stomping like Licorice, but he's just consistent, right? And I think we can all say that Licorice has been like one of the most consistent top laners / players in the league, in all honesty, which I think was like the big question marks. And Solo being able to show that same level just has his team like up in a pedestal, right? Like he's not gonna lose you the game. He's not gonna be a Zig. He's not gonna be, you know,
a Zig. Oh man, the flame.
I mean, it's true because like Zig has lost Optic games. You know, like he's just a rock. And he takes a lot of pressure, but he's able to withstand it. And I clearly think that this team is only going to be improving, right? And I gave off the example earlier that they might not be as good in a best of 3. I do think that this is one of the best of 3 teams, possibly like in this top like part out of the new teams we see.
I sort of kind of want to take it back just a little bit and like look at the teams they actually won their last 4 games against, though. 2 of which were TSM, Optic Gaming, and FlyQuest. The only one that I was super impressed with was the FlyQuest game. Optic Gaming to go blow for a while. That doesn't feel like it was a pretty close game, right?
I agree. I think like my issue is that with Optic, I'm still like Optic to me is like bottom of the barrel, but like they're not a bad team, right? And the issue I've been having with the NALCS this year is there's 2 teams in the top.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much from there on, it feels like everyone can beat everyone except COG. Like COG is literally like just. I don't think they win. Like I think we talked about this. I don't think they win another game.
Yeah,
you know, and Team Liquid started off strong. Hell, like they look like one of the best teams. They look awful. Like if they don't step this up, they probably still beat the bottom 4 teams, but they don't make it past like the first round of playoffs. It's how I see it right now.
Wow.
Impact seems tilted, you know, like he's been having a really rough split. Like after that C9 loss, I think that affected him a lot. And then the team just started like crumbling from that because you don't have your consistent top laner that can like, you know, take pressure and then make plays. And then that means, well, we fucked him up. Like now our top laner can solo him a couple times. Then our top laner can make plays and Impact. If he makes the same play, if he responds to that, he's so far behind. It's a free kill. Yeah, you know, it's a free like lane. So I don't know. I think they've been struggling. This week is going to be interesting because if they don't go 2-0 like this week, and I'm not sure exactly who they play.
FlyQuest and Echo Fox.
Yes. If they don't go 2-0, and if for some reason they lose to FlyQuest, like this team. I don't know. This team will be actually even struggling to make it into playoffs. I think that's how close the competition is looking. That if you keep having like 0-2 weeks like that, like there's no way you don't make it. So they need to beat FlyQuest, and I don't think they beat Fox. I don't think there's a way in hell unless they have like one of the best like comeback weeks. But I don't know.
I think if TL beats Fox this week, I think then I can honestly say that I have no idea what I'm talking about. I can honestly say
that's
that.
the one. Anything can happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's where I agree with you. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't think like Team Liquid have looked good. They have had like the week to week, like, oh, they look like awful shit. Oh my God, they're gods. Oh, they look like shit. Oh, they're gods. Now they have 2 consecutive. Oh, I don't know what's going on. You know, like.
I mean, they've been full of memes this week. Doublelift died with his flash up. Like Smithy misses a Sejuani out. Like does the Smithy Sejuani out?
That miss,
like,
holy shit! That miss made my heart break.
But you also have to realize right now, like they beat CLG, but it was like 7-8, and it was like a 42-minute game. Like CLG took them to the brink. Like that's what I mean. I told you, like the mid to late game, like they can play the early game right, but it's the same thing as TSM. They're just better at transition to mid game. I think.
Yeah,
it's just that with their late game, I don't see it happening. Like, how do you go 42 minutes with a 10th place team?
Yeah,
that's potentially 10th place. Like, I don't know.
Team Liquid to me is like kind of what I thought CLG would be, because like you have big names, just like CLG is like, oh, we got some good names, good performers. Like this is the year for CLG. Except Team Liquid's able to like still depend on their players, unlike CLG has been able to. And that's why it's like
man.
it's hard for me to throw them down. Although again, after sorry, did I go too far?
There's a CLG fanboy shitting on CLG right now. I think it's happening. The team, if we want to go back and check the last two, it was CLG. I still have hope. I still play CLG. Yeah.
And
well, now that we can't officially rely on our players, we'll have to find something else to do.
Yeah. So I think TL, I think we still keep them high up because of their players. And after this week, we could see if they keep performing bad, they're gonna drop. Just drop. They're gonna keep dropping down the standings, and that's kind of scary because I think a lot of these middle tier teams, like we talked about, it's like any of them could take off a game from each other. But then, as the second part of the split's gonna happen, we see them solidifying their shot calling and communication issues. They're gonna start, spreading out from each other, and I think we're starting to see that. I think the middle of the pack kind of has gotten smaller from like 5 teams to 3. And right now, what we have for these 3 middle of the pack teams that are like really vying for those playoff spots. In 5th, we have 100 Thieves. 6th, we have FlyQuest, and 7th, we have TSM. So, yeah. What about 100 Thieves, guys? Who wants to start with that one?
I think 100 Thieves and FlyQuest are basically interchangeable at this point.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
I agree. Comparably the same team. Like I would have been fine with FlyQuest in 5th and 100 Thieves in 6th. I think that's just the clear division between the teams. Like as much as we just shit on Team Liquid, I still think that there's still a clear division between that group of 3 and Team Liquid. Like I can still see TL handily beating 100 Thieves, FlyQuest, TSM.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, even Golden Gardens, right? Oh, wait a minute. So no. I agree. I mean, I think 100 Thieves, I'm not convinced at all. Like, if the other teams were not doing as bad, 100 Thieves to me doesn't make playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But like what we were talking about, like every team is taking games from every team. It's like Russian roulette, dude. Like you literally load up a gun, go, I'm a fan of this team. Will I die this week? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, analysis goes out the window aside from the top 2 teams clearly beating everyone else but each other pretty much. And it's like, who knows, right? And like, it's just crazy to me to think that. And it's just so close, right? I enjoy it because it's so close to see who the fuck is actually gonna make it to playoffs.
Yeah, that's really exciting.
100 Thieves can end up not making it. They've been slumping. They had like a decent week, but it wasn't like holy 100 Thieves again, clearly 5th.
I mean,
right?
they beat CLG. Like it's not like it's it wasn't a lavish victory. It was sort of like, okay, yeah, well, like, all right, well, this is the gimme bounce back. Maybe we'll like boost our morale a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Right. And like, I mean, they've talked like media's just talk like they seem tilted. They don't know what the fuck they should do in game. Mm-hmm. Let's move over to FlyQuest,
Yeah,
like,
so actually, let me talk about this real quick.
Yeah,
100 Thieves and FlyQuest. Because usually I was putting 100 Thieves over you guys because I just like 100 Thieves and I kind of believed and had the faith. This week I put them below you guys. And I think one of the big reasons, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that 100 Thieves, like Manny just hinted at or talked about and Medios' interview and stuff like that, they kind of like trying to figure out like how to play the game and they don't necessarily have each other's back fully and they're finding, I guess, their identity as a team. FlyQuest at least has been proactive and like are committing to fights and like making decisions, while 100 Thieves is like, let's sit and out macro them and play this weird game for 50 minutes instead of like, let's just go. Like I feel like Medios is like, it's like the one game he played before, I can't remember when it was and what team he was on, but he played Lee Sin, did absolutely nothing on Lee Sin until he snuck behind the enemy team and then got a Lee Sin insect, right?
It was Cloud9,
against Flash Wolves. When he was playing with Cloud9 against Flash Wolves, Worlds 2016.
Yeah, he was legit inting. He was legit inting and went tank Lee Sin. It was like, I can't do anything else. I'm just going to be a kick butt.
60 minutes, practiced how to play Lee Sin because he didn't want to give it over to Karsa. And then they were like, wait, I know how to flash kick. Wait a second. They win the game. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
That's what I feel like Medios is doing. Like he played Jax. He went full tank, which I know like tanky Jax is like legit, but he wasn't like doing anything. And because he wasn't doing anything, like 100 Thieves was like, we can't engage. We can't close out a game. And we just had to quote unquote outsmart the enemy team with weird macro. And I mean, their macro is good. It's
Yeah.
just like really soft. Like they're like, we
Yeah.
can win this, but we're gonna take an 80% chance. Like make sure that we absolutely win this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's literally the whole theory of relying on Aframu, and it can only get you that far. I'm sorry, like Afro's not gonna, Afro doesn't put up the numbers in fantasy for a reason, and like it's just like he's smart. He's really smart about the game, but like you cannot necessarily always beat teams like that, right?
Mhm.
Especially when you have like the teams above them. Every lane is almost, if not better, than what 100 Thieves is offering. And it's like if you can't take leads off of that, if you don't know what the fuck to do to take leads off of that, then I'm sorry, you don't even make it out of playoffs, out of the first round. So I agree. I think the 3 teams that are tied, quote unquote tied, like are really close to each other. FlyQuest, we talked about it last week. I'm all for like putting in JJ, and this is no flame to him at all. I think he's a really good player. Just keep Stunt for now. If you want to make a playoff push. Like that team looks so much like just cohesive with Stunt. Like stop changing them around because that affects synergy. 1 and 2, like, like I don't know how exactly like FlyQuest is running things, but like if you legitimately want to have a strong playoff push, keep the roster as it is right now.
Yeah, I mean, Golden Guardians can make it to playoffs with their win record. It's close at the bottom of the standings. It's really close. So you can't afford these losses to help your team or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And like, again, this is no flame to JJ. I feel like the fucking casters and stuff were like almost like, like just putting him, like witch hunting him. It's like JJ is a great guy. He's really smart. Like the thing is he's a rookie, right? And in the support role, you look at who he's competing against, they're really fucking smart for this game.
Yeah.
If you don't have that same knowledge, which you gain from experience and playing with other teams, like you're going to have a disconnect there, And it's even not to say like, what's his name? Stunt doesn't have like the biggest repertoire, but it's still, like a little bit better. He's been in the pro scene for like a year and a half now. So I think like that's just something to consider for FlyQuest. And to me, it was really tough. FlyQuest, I pretty much had FlyQuest and TSM as a tie. I think they are the interchangeable team, personally. But I mean, TSM, like they just looked awful. And I think I saw a tweet, which was my favorite. And this is being, as a TSM fan, which is TSM kept their problems and picked up all of G2's problems. And I was like, that describes it perfectly. Cause like G2 is a great team. Like I think G2 and TSM are very similar like teams, and they're great teams. They're awesome teams, but like there's such a disconnect, right? And I don't even think it's all on Mike Young. Like I don't think like it's a clear cut like this is what's going on. Aside from like they don't know what the fuck they're doing together as a team. And that's like the main issue, right?
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like I mean, even I can't say like Bjergsen's like. I think Hanser's like the only decent member right now. And even then he's had some really fucking questionable macro plays. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, aside from that, it's just like, it's just so difficult. And that to me, it's like, if they can't fix that enough, I still think that they can like fight with FlyQuest, right? But they did lose the first match. So who knows, right? Like, so we'll see. I think losing both games to Clutch and the second game being more decisive just shows that TSM is nowhere close. I feel like they could be a better best of 3 team, right? Where if you don't win a 50-50 game, like you are able to like maybe come back and stomp them, like if it's right away.
Yep.
So they could be one of those teams that are better in the playoffs, but like again, I'm gonna give the same like benefit of doubt, like to the teams above them, kind of like I did with Cloud9. It's like, yes, in best of 3s, they can be better, but right now they need to show more.
So Rhino, is there anything you want to say about you putting TSM below FlyQuest? Or either Fly or TSM?
Oh, dude, they deserve to be there, and it feels so good. I'm looking through their matchups for the coming weeks, right? I think they take 2 games. I think they take 2 games in the coming weeks. Maybe 100 Thieves if 100 Thieves has a bad week 6 and 7.
Mhm.
That's the. Everything else is like Team Liquid versus TSM. You know, Clutch Gaming versus. No, sorry, not Clutch Gaming.
It's
Cloud9
Optic?
versus TSM.
It's because it's this week. It's Optic and Fox.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
In theory, they win one. In theory, and again, I don't think Optic is that bad of a team, especially if like they look as strong as they did this week, even though they didn't get the record. Like
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like
What do you think they
it's
prepare
so-
for, though? If you were a coach right now, what would you have TSM prepare for? If you're
I
Parv,
just
or Song.
Well, so yeah, if I was Song, I'd be like, listen, guys, stop being fucking stupid. Talk to each other. Holy
No,
shit!
honestly,
No,
this is like
but
a
like I don't even look at the matchups at this point, right? I'm literally like straight to basics. Learn how to fucking control the map as a team. Like learn how to call plays. Like build synergy. Like I don't think if you as TSM are preparing for a matchup, you're doing it wrong.
Mhm.
Because if you cannot be beating 5th through 10th, then why the fuck are you even preparing for Echo Fox? Why the fuck are you preparing against Cloud9? You know what I mean? Like you need to fundamentally improve as a team, they're not doing that.
That's sort of what I'm hinting at. What I'm saying is like, okay,
yeah, exactly.
what matchup do you have them like practice for and really study? Right? I say if you're looking to make playoffs, you study the fuck out of what Optic's doing wrong, and you try and figure out maybe that, because there's some clear similarities between what's wrong with Optic Gaming's mid to late game and TSM's mid to late game. The only thing is Optic has a lot more experience with winning those mid to late games. That's the only thing.
Oh, that's so sad.
Here's what I'm saying. If I'm TSM, if I'm Song or Parth or whoever the hell's Andy, whatever you want to call it, I say, all right, guys, you know what? Let's just troll pick the fuck out of Echo Fox. Have fun with it, because if you sit in practice and they try and like convince themselves that they can beat Echo Fox and they get completely dumpstered, you can kiss the rest of TSM seasons goodbye. There's nothing left for them to get.
I am ready for them to lose to Optic and beat Echo Fox. just in TSM fashion, because TSM are like becoming Counter Logic Gaming, but without actually being shit. So you know, it's like,
Holy.
yeah. So like, I don't know, dude.
But I don't know. I mean, for this group of 3, I think 100 Thieves, if they like, this is like, I guess why I sort of wanted to put FlyQuest above 100 Thieves, but I still put 100 Thieves above because I still have faith in my man Meteos. This is what you see between losing early and trying things early comparative to playing it safe early. Because when you start losing into the middle of the split, you have no idea what to do, and you can see that from 100 Thieves. Sure, you can win a bunch of games early by playing safe, but if you don't test anything, you don't try anything, and you just go off of, well, Herpeter, this is what works, and that's like the nade shot way, then you're slowly going to get picked apart over and over and over again. That's just how it works.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So moving to the bottom of the standing, we have some shuffle, as you've probably heard from everything that we've been hinting at. In 8th place, we have Golden Guardians. 9th place, we have Optic Gaming. 10th place, we have CLG. All right.
How do we all get all these 3 different, except for Manny and I put CLG at dead ass last? Because they would have all tied.
Because I like I mentioned last week, if I could, I would. Man, this week they showed if there's a will, there's a way, Manny. We're going straight to the bottom. Let's go.
All right, we got to save that spiciness of CLG for the end. But Golden Guardians, they jumped up from our 10th place spot to our 8th place spot. Did they go 2-0 this week, or did they go 1-1?
1-1, pretty sure.
1-1?
Yeah.
Okay, so why did they jump up? Was it because everyone got worse, or did they actually look a little better?
I mean,
Because
I
they
don't
beat
know.
Team Liquid.
Yeah, but they lost to Optic, man. Like, that's why I think it's a little like unwarranted. Like, maybe I put them at 9th. That's why I put them at 8th. That's like if we were to imagine this is relegation, they're going to be saved from relegation. I don't see that team getting saved from relegation. That's just picking up a lucky 1-0, I think. I don't know. Like you won against the top 3 team that's tilted. I don't think that's like warranting to be like, oh shit, here comes the comeback. Like, we could potentially see them in 7th place in 2 weeks. No way. There's no way. Like, there's no way they're going to ever be better than TSM. I think Optic can figure them out. And I mean, CLG is whatever. Like,
I think from before, from like our last time like talking about this team, right? That the CLG game that they originally lost, like the first one they lost, I don't think they should have lost it, right? Like I think that they should have won it, but like they tilted off the face of the earth. If you put this team now to like how they were last time, I think that they actually like win that game, you know. So I don't think I'm not saying that they're going to be competing for playoffs. I'd be fucking shocked, but it's the high effect, right? High just goes, hey, yeah, here's all your theories and shit. Yeah, we made it into playoffs some way, right? They still did beat Team Liquid, right? And like we said, yes, they are like Team Liquid is tilted. Completely understandable. But we've even said that if you look at their squad, they are an average North American team at best.
Yeah.
With an average talent at best. Against the most expensive roster in the league. Fucking international veterans, you know, like they've won splits, they've gone to world. Like, I still think there's something there for Golden Guardians. I think we keep seeing improvement. I mean, I still think their ceilings, like their only projection is going up, right? Like you can't be as bad at, like you can't go back to being as bad as you were. But like CLG is just so much worse. And I think they fight against Optic, right?
Yeah.
And I think they can fight against TSM. Like if they were able to do it against Team Liquid, imagine a tilted TSM. Like, you know what I mean? So I think they can still take games away from like best of ones, but I don't know. Like, I mean, I think it's kind of like a inflated quick jump up of like, holy shit, they beat the Liquid for sure. But
like,
you know,
let me entertain this idea for you.
Okay.
Like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sam.
Go for it.
So the two games that Golden Guardians win are against 100 Thieves and Team Liquid. So well, let's just scrub Team Liquid out. They beat 100 Thieves. Now, Ryu has to be the second worst mid laner in the league. In my opinion, I thought 100 Thieves, that was a terrible pickup. I do not like Ryu. I think he's a bad player. But it's whatever Medios wanted. Think of it this way. Do you see High not feeding against any other mid laner? Feeding against Fly? Feeding against Huhi? Feeding against Jensen? Feeding against Phoenix? Feeding against anybody else? Because you look at the Optic game, Power of Evil was 8-1-4 on Victor, the worst mid laner in the game. Victor. They demoralized them. They destroyed. Arrow won a game on Draven. Draven in LCS. All you have to do is camp bot lane, and then Draven becomes useless.
So
what happened, guys?
I mean, I agree with you, right? Like, it's demoralizing, but then the very next game they fucking beat the one of the top like 4 teams. I still like I mean I can't like Hyde did well against Bo Belter. Hyde did rotations better. Like, so I agree with you. I'm not like necessarily disagreeing with you, right? In theory, like maybe this team like its peak is 9th for now. I still think that like if they play against CLG, they beat CLG without a doubt. They nearly did the first time, and that was fucking like Golden Guardians. Like first 2 weeks where everyone's like, "Holy, this team's going 0-18 and stuff." You know what I mean? Like, unless CLG shows me actual like improvement, I don't think like I think Golden Guardians like can take those games, right? Maybe maybe they don't beat like FlyQuest. Maybe they don't beat 100 Thieves, but like there is a chance that they do beat like 100 Thieves. You know, like there is a chance that they beat like this middle of the pack teams that if like they underperform or if they have like a wrong pick or something, like they can falter, right? That have shown that. So I don't know. I mean, if Optic can take some games from some of these teams, I feel like Golden Guardians like deserve kind of like the same respect in that regard.
Sure. So I think with Golden Guardians Optic Gaming, I think it's a bad matchup for Golden Guardians specifically because this is what I think. We talked about Golden Guardians being an average team. All their players are average, right? So unless someone can But the thing is, they have the high effect, right? Good shot calling and all that kind of like really strong decisiveness, which is really, really difficult, especially with all these teams that are having a lot of shot calling issues. If Golden Guardians can just like get out of lane, then they have a fighting chance, because Optic, you have Power of Evil, who is literally just putting his whole team on his back and just destroying people and like just carrying his dead weight. And you have Arrow, who's really, really good, but he's in lane with elimination. You have Arrow just stomping the bot lane against Golden Guards. You have Power of Evil stomping the mid lane against High. But there's other teams in there, like 100 Thieves that you mentioned, where they aren't like going to stomp their lanes with like Rio or their bot lane. Then Golden Guardians kind of gets out and can win against those teams. But there's no way they can survive a lane against like Phoenix or Jensen or Sneaky and Smoothie. Like those top teams, there's no way. So like the one reason why I think Golden Guardians is up here at the top of the bottom is because they just have like the average. They're 5 out of 10 across the whole board, and plus they can actually be decisive. So they'll win games off of like even a team like TSM that just like don't know what they're doing, right? With Optic Gaming, the reason why I also think Optic Gaming is not 10th anymore is because Power of Evil. Like he carried so freaking hard with his dead weight. If they changed up the jungle on top lane, like even with rookies, they might actually be able to like maybe get 7th or something, but it's just basically how hard can Power of Evil carry with such a bad team? Like and he's doing really, really well. So if there's a chance that Zig and who's their jungler? I can't even remember. Acadian. Like if they're able to just like, I don't know, what if they played like Ivern or like just supporting champions? Maybe they can like bump up a little bit. But right now, like the only reason why they're not 10th is because CLG is that bad.
But like you have 3 players that are better than the opposing players on Optic. Like Acadian's below average, Zig's below average, and Elimination's below average. Like Zig, Elimination have possibly are the worst in their roles. Next to maybe Biofrost. Okay, so why couldn't Deathly and Matt exploit Elimination? Why couldn't Lorlo win the matchup that he's supposed to have favor in against Zig? And why did Contracts get out jungled by Acadian?
Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. I think Lorelu and Contracts are really, really good. And not really, really good. They're getting a lot better and they're showing a lot of promise. I think Contracts is just amazing, also on just a really difficult team. And he's not a rookie, but he's still pretty fresh. I think maybe they made mistakes because they're a weak team still, and they got exploited. For some reason, they just didn't perform with how they should have.
Yeah, I mean, I think like both those teams are very interchangeable, personally.
I think it's a coin toss at this point. Honestly,
I think Optic has a higher ceiling and a lower floor.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I think that is the best way to describe, like, especially Optic.
I think Golden Guardians gets to their ceiling faster than Optic does.
Yeah,
I think Optic is just using the split as an exploration sort of thing. Like, why else would they be playing?
They have no choice.
Victor and Draven. Like, why else would you be doing that? I don't know. Like, I'm willing to give this team a shot. I mean, if they pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the thing is also like with those pickups. I mean, I don't know how comfortable necessarily, Power of Evil is on Victor, right? But like, Arrow is known to be like a Draven player, right? He's like. His best champion has always been Draven. It's like, I feel like at that point, like Sabatine is just like, guys, just play the fucking. What's your comfort pick, boy? Kled.
Yeah, morale is important.
Yeah, no, you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, what's your Draven? You want Draven? Prove it to me, boy. You know, like they win. It's like, okay, oh shit, you know, like, but I don't know. Like I it is a coin toss. I think we summed it up between those two teams perfectly.
CLG last place, and not the coin toss involved with Golden Guardians Optic Gaming. What's wrong with CLG? What's up?
They're flaming garbage, and they're never going to get any better unless they switch up their roster and or coaching staff. You can't rely on Zix for everything, dude. Maybe like I feel like Zix and Aftermoo were a great combo because they bounced ideas off of each other. Now I feel like Aftermoo was the kind of guy there to be like, Zix, no, that's fucking stupid. Let's not do that. Like, I feel like Aftermoo was definitely the voice in that CLG roster. Now it's just like Zix like spits out ideas like, dude, I got an idea. Play Rengar. You love Rengar. Play Rengar. But Rengar has a really bad like mid laner. Play Rengar. You'll love it. I promise. Like, I feel like there's no, I don't know. It's You can't have Stixay be wishy-washy when he's the only one that can carry. And Darshan, great, you beat like Hoonie and Lane, but everybody else lost, my dude.
Hooney's
like,
my fucking bitch. Best line in the fucking. Dude, that's I need to make that into my ringtone. I mean, I said it before. I don't think Darshan. I've personally haven't seen didn't think Darshan to be like a great player as he's always been portrayed to be by the analysts and stuff. Like every time they say that, kind of cringe. I'm like, I don't know if you guys like, and hell, maybe I'm in the wrong, right? But again, I said it last week. The fact that Darshan is your most consistent player shows troubling signs.
Yeah,
for your team. I don't think Biofrost is the issue because I know like a lot of people like look for the scapegoat. If anything, dude, Rainover, I'm sorry, bring Omar God.
Ooh,
you have a fucking jungler that like you brought in last time to like try to clean up like your mess. Bring him back. Like, why are you not like subbing in like Omar God for Rainover?
I stand by my prediction where I said that Rainover is garbage without Hoonie telling him what to do.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
I don't want to believe it, but it might be true.
No. I think at this point it's just like I think the year in Team Liquid just detrimented his mentality. Like he's now like in the gutter pretty much, right? So, but that's why it's like bring Omar God. Holy shit, switch out Stixay for a game. I don't care. Like, just do something to try to get this team kicking. You're supposed to be a top 4 team or team that's challenging for playoffs. You actually look like the worst team in the league.
You are the worst team in the league. There's no like you are the worst team. People are relieved to beat you. There's no coming back from that unless you just have a complete roster revamp where you guys get your shit together. There's nothing like you can say about it. Like, you can't blame it on anything else. Like Biofrost has the second lowest KDA in LCS. He's like 41 out of 45, right? 9 teams, or is it 10 teams?
Yeah, I mean, even look at this. Like, look at Optic Gaming. There's players that are really bad on that team, yet PoE is able to carry somehow, and Arrow is able to carry somehow. It's not just like one player because I'm sorry, Optic Gaming has 3 of those, and Golden Guardians has 5 of those that are just like mediocre, you know? So like what is CLG's excuse when you have like star players?
Even the fact that like you can't win on Aurelion still shows you that this team has issues.
Oh man, you went there.
I'm not even wrong, dude. Like they had a huge fucking win percentage when they picked Aurelion Soul. They actually got shit on by Optic, you know, like the team that's like slightly above them, maybe, you know, like and I thought it was like an interesting stat. Like I do understand, like again, your criticism to like Biofrost, but like I love the stat that the analyst says threw at us. 0-2-0 for Stixay pre 15 minutes throughout the split. No kills, no assists. You're supposed to be a fucking 80 carry in an 80 carry like center meta. Like holy shit, dude. Like I'm sorry. Like as a support, what do you do there? You know what I mean? Like, and like, then you have Rainover who's throwing it down like on the top side of the map. Like as a support, what do you do there? You know? So it's like, I agree with you. Like they just need to revamp, but like bring Omar God. You have tools to like try to revamp your goddamn. Like,
everyone has an academy team.
I don't know if Omar God's the answer to that. I think
probably not.
It might not be, but goddamn, it's anything at this point. No,
maybe even lighting a fire under Rainover's butt to like just be like, hey, my role is kind of threatened. You know.
I think you know, I wanted to like a lot of people like ended up leaving CLG in the preseason. And I was like, you know, it's not like the management's fault, you know, like they did get like partnered with MSG. Like I just did not want to think like this was going to be a god awful team. Nick Allen, I don't know what's going on, dude, but like the way you're like the team is being run right now, it's just god awful. And like, if you don't change it, you're not even going to get anywhere near playoffs within an entire year.
Or at least they're tailgating, right?
They're tailgating. Listen, they had Rainover taking pictures with everyone, you know, because he looks as flat as he does in game. So.
Oh damn! All right, so with that, yeah, that is week 6. We are excited to see what happens in week 7 as everyone's kind of finished with the round robin. We will see how wrong we are about some things. Maybe CLG and TSM are like, hey, we're back. We have no idea, but we're excited to see that this coming week. So that is it for this episode of the Eye of the Watchers, where we're giving you all the support and insight you need to get hyped about League of Legends esports. See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.